Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to learn how to work with functions. We've got 4 success criteria, and the first one is to find the value of functions. A function is a relationship that relates an input to an output. So functions are denoted as f of x, which means a function in terms of x, or it may be given as g of y, which means a function in terms of y. In terms of x means that the only letter in the function will be x. So given that f of x equals 2x plus 5, we want to find the value of f of 3. Well, this means we need to replace x with 3. So f of 3 will be 2 times 3 plus 5. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 5 would be 11. So f of 3 equals 11. Given that g of x equals x squared minus 3, find the value of g of minus 4. So we replace x with minus 4. So g of minus 4 equals minus 4 squared, take away 3. Now we need to be careful with minus 4 squared, because minus 4 squared would be positive 16. Squared means times by itself, and minus 4 times minus 4 is positive 16. Then we take away 3. So g of minus 4 is 13. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So given that f of x equals 3x minus 5, find the value of f of minus 4. So we replace x with minus 4. So 3 times minus 4 will be minus 12. And minus 12 take away 5 is minus 17. So f of minus 4 is minus 17. Here's another example. So given that f of x equals x squared minus 3 and g of x is 3x minus 5, find the value of f of g of 3. So this means we substitute 3 into g first, then into f. So if we substitute 3 into g of x first, so we do 3 times 3, which is 9, and then take away 5, that's 4. Now we substitute that into f of x. So 4 squared is 16, and 16 take away 3 is 13. So our answer is 13. Here's another example. This time we want to find the value of g of f of 3. So this means we need to substitute 3 into f of x first. So 3 squared is 9. Then we take away 3, which is 6. Then we're going to substitute that 6 into g of x. So 3 times 6 is 18. Take away 5 is 13. So our answer is 13. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So in this question, we want to find the value of g of f of 4. So we substitute it into f of x first. So 5 times 4, and then take away 2, which is 18. And we substitute that answer into g of x. So 18 plus 6 divided by 3 equals 8. So our answer is 8. Here's another question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So this time we want to find the value of f of g of 6. So we need to substitute 6 into g of x first. So 6 plus 6 divided by 3, which is 4. And then we substitute that 4 into f of x. So 5 times 4, take away 2, which is 18. Our answer is 18. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. There's your red answers. And there's your purple answers. The greens made star. The ambers made planet. The reds made comet. And the purples made moon. And now we've completed success criteria 1. So now we're going to move on to number 2, and this is to find composite functions. A composite function is when a function is substituted into another function. So given that f of x is 2x plus 4 and g of x is 5x minus 3, find g of f of x. So this means we substitute f of x into g of x. So we replace the x in g of x with 2x plus 4. We need to expand that bracket. So 5 times 2x is 10x, and 5 times 4 is 20. And then we simplify it. So g of f of x is 10x plus 17. This time, we want to find f of g of x. So that means we substitute g of x into f of x. So we replace the x in f of x with 5x minus 3. We expand the bracket. So 2 times 5x is 10x, and 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. Then we simplify it. So g of f of x is 10x minus 2. This time we want to find f of x. So this is where we substitute f of x into f of x. So we replace the x with 2x plus 4. So we expand the bracket first. So 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times 4 is 8. And then we simplify it. So f of x is 4x plus 12. Here, we want to find g of f of x. So we substitute f of x into g of x. So we replace the x with 3x minus 1. Now we need to square it first because we do indices before multiplication. So to do that, we need to use the grid method. So we do 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times minus 1 is minus 3x. Minus 1 times 3x is minus 3x. And minus 1 times minus 1 is positive 1. We then add all these together. So we get 9x squared minus 6x plus 1. Then we need to expand the bracket by timesing everything by 2. So 2 times 9x squared is 18x squared. 2 times minus 6x is minus 12x. And 2 times 1 is 2. Then we simplify it. So g of f of x is 18x squared minus 12x minus 3. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So in this question, I want to find h of g of x. So I substitute g of x into h of x. So I replace x with 3x minus 2. I need to square it, which means times by itself. So I do 3x minus 2 times 3x minus 2. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times minus 2 is minus 6x. 3x times minus 2 is minus 6x again. And minus 2 times minus 2 is positive 4. We can simplify that. So our final answer is 9x squared minus 12x plus 9. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. There's your red answers. And there's your purple answers. And now we've completed success criteria 2. So now we're going to move on to number 3, and this is to find inverse functions. An inverse function allows you to use the output to get the input. We denote inverse functions as f of minus 1 of x and g minus 1 of x. To be able to find inverse functions, you need to be confident with rearranging formula. So if you're not confident with rearranging a formula, have a look at our video on being able to rearrange difficult formulae. So given that f of x is 3x plus 2, find f of minus 1 of x. So f of x can sometimes be written as y when finding the inverse function. So swap the f of x for y to make the written work easier. So to find the inverse function, we want to make x the subject of the formula. So we can use the balancing method to do this. We can take 2 off both sides. So y minus 2 equals 3x. And then to get x on its own, we divide both sides by 3. So y minus 2 over 3 equals x. Swap the y back to x at the end. So f minus 1 of x is x minus 2 over 3. Here's another example. Given that f of x is 2x squared minus 7, we want to find f minus 1 of x. So we want to make x the subject of the formula, which means we want it to say x equals. So we start by getting rid of the minus 7 by adding 7 to both sides. We've got y plus 7 equals 2x squared. Then we need to divide both sides by 2 to get rid of the 2. And then we need to square root both sides to get rid of the squared. So x is the square root of y plus 7 over 2. We then replace the y with an x, and that's our answer. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So if we let the equation be y equals 6x minus 5, we use the balancing method, so we need to do the same thing to both sides of the equation. Add 5 to both sides to get rid of the minus 5. So y plus 5 equals 6x. And then to get rid of the 6, we divide both sides by 6. So y plus 5 over 6 equals x. Replace the y with an x. Our answer is x plus 5 over 6. Here's another question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So for this question, we're going to rearrange it so we've got it as x equals, so x is the subject. First of all, we get rid of the divide by 4 by timesing by 4. So 4y equals 7x minus 1. Then we need to get rid of the minus 1 by adding 1 to both sides. So 4y plus 1 equals 7x. And then we divide both sides by 7. So 4y plus 1 over 7 equals x. Replace the y with an x, and that's our answer. 4x plus 1 over 7. Here's another example. This time, I've got an x on top and an x on the bottom, so I need to be careful. I start by getting rid of the x on the bottom. So I times both sides by x plus 2. y times x is xy, and y times 2 is 2y. So xy plus 2y equals 2x plus 1. Then I get my x's on one side, so I can take 2x off that side and take 2x off that side. Then I get my y on the other side, so I take 2y off that side and take 2y off this side. So I have xy minus 2x equals 1 minus 2y. And I factorize, so I get x on the outside of the bracket. And then I divide both sides by y minus 2. So x equals 1 minus 2y over y minus 2. And replace the y's with an x. So my answer is 1 minus 2x over x minus 2. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. There's your red answers. And there's your purple answers. And now we've completed success criteria 3. So now we're going to move on to number 4, and this is to apply to problem-solving questions. So the domain of a function is the set of all values that can be put into a function. So if f of x is 3x minus 1 over 2x plus 1, we want to state any values of x that must be excluded from the domain of f of x. So this means what value of x would not give a solution when substituted into the function? Well, we can't divide by 0, so the number on the bottom cannot be 0. So what value of x would make the bottom 0? So it's like solving an equation, but you're finding out what x can't be. So we take 1 off both sides. So 2x cannot equal minus 1. Then we divide both sides by 2. So x cannot equal minus a half. Because if x is minus a half, that makes the bottom of the fraction 0, and we can never divide by 0. In this example, f of x equals the square root of 3x minus 4, and we want to state the domain of f of x. Now in this question, or in any question, you can't find the square root of a negative number. So 3x minus 4 must be 0 or greater than 0. So we solve this inequality. We add 4 to both sides. So 3x must be greater than or equal to 4. Then divide both sides by 3. So x must be greater than or equal to 4 over 3. If it was less than 4 over 3, that means the number inside the square root would be a negative, and we can't find the square root of a negative number. Here's some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So for the red answer, x cannot equal 5 over 2. For the purple answer, x cannot equal 0. For the amber answer, x has to be less than or equal to 9 over 2. For the blue question, there are no exclusions, x can be anything. For the green question, again, there are no exclusions, x can be anything. For the yellow question, x cannot equal minus 5 over 6. And for the pink question, x cannot equal either 45 or 135. You may also be given some more problem-solving style questions incorporating functions. Have a try of some of these to get a practice. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So for the green question, we want to find the values of a, b, and c. So we substitute g of x into f of x. So we know that 5b must equal 15, and 5c plus a must equal 32. So if 5b equals 15, that means that b must be 3. Now 5c plus a equals 32. And if we substitute f of x into g of x, we get 15x plus 3a plus c. So we know that 3a plus c must equal minus 2. So now we've got a simultaneous equation that we can solve. So we can take 5c off both sides. So that means that a equals 32 minus 5c. And if we substitute that into the second equation, expand the bracket, and simplify, then we can solve this equation. So we can take 96 off both sides, and divide both sides by minus 14. So c equals 7. And we can work out a by substituting c equals 7 into the equation. So a must equal minus 3. So a equals minus 3, b equals 3, and c equals 7. For the amber question, if we substitute g of x into f of x, we get this. And if we substitute f of x into g of x, we get this. So we can make them equal to each other. We can take 2x squared off both sides and add 11 to both sides to make it equal 0. Then, if we divide everything by 2, it makes it easier to solve. So we've got a quadratic. Factorize it into 2 brackets, and then we can solve them. So x minus 4 equals 0, or x minus 2 equals 0. So x equals 4, or x equals 2. For the red question, if we find f minus 1 of x. So we rearrange to make x the subject. So x equals 2y plus 11 over y plus 1. So f minus 1 of x equals 2x plus 11 over x plus 1. We make that equal to g of x, so x plus 3. And then we need to solve it. So we times both sides by x plus 1. Then we take 2x off both sides and take 11 off both sides. So x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. So we've got a quadratic that we can solve. Factorize it into two brackets. So x plus 4 must equal 0, or x minus 2 equals 0. That means x equals minus 4, or x equals 2. And we're told in the question that given that x is less than 0, that means x must just equal minus 4. And finally, a purple question. So we want to find g of minus 2, which is minus 2m plus 3. Then we substitute that into f of x. So that gives us this. We're told that that equals 70. So we take 70 off both sides. Now here I can divide through by 12. So m squared minus 3m minus 4 equals 0. I've got a quadratic I can solve. So I factorize it into two brackets and then solve it. So m minus 4 equals 0, or m plus 1 equals 0. That means m equals 4, or m equals minus 1. And I'm told in the question that m is greater than 0. So m can only equal 4. It can't equal minus 1. If I find f of 5 and substitute that into g, so my answer is 283. And now I've completed success criteria 4. So now that I've completed the last objective, it's time to end the video. Hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it useful. Make sure to like and subscribe and be sure to check out the other videos on the rest of the channel. I'll see you next time. See ya.